Well, that wraps up this Friday the 13th ranking trilogy. I hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to It's been a long time, kiddies, and I'm finally back to bring you my top 10 kills of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise.
And I've been away for far too long.
Let's kick this shit off at number 10. This might be the only good thing to come out of Freddy's Dead, and plus, who doesn't love a good head explosion? Even though Freddy is full-on Looney Tunes at this point, turning Carlos's hearing aid into a gross as fuck sounding amplifier spider thing is just gnarly. But if I'm being honest, I could have done without the goofy ass sound effects of the pins dropping.
You wouldn't do that, would you, man? No, please! No, man!
But when Carlos thinks he's outsmarted the Dream Master, Freddy starts giving a chalkboard some big old belly rubs, and the sound is just too much to handle.
Nice hearing from you, Carlos.
But we all know the sickest part of this whole sequence wasn't the head explosion or the ear spider. It was that damn Q-tip. I mean, god damn, that's just nasty. Number 9.
John, comic books was bad for you.
Again, much like the last kill, this is another one where Freddy is just an overblown cornball, but damn do I really like it. The sequence starts off with Mark getting sucked into the comic book world Aha style, which still to this day is a pretty damn cool effect. But what I love about this kill might be the stupidest part of it. So after Mark turns into his superhero alter ego, the Phantom Prowler, to try to take down Freddy, Freddy retaliates by turning into his own stupid superhero alter ego.
It's Super Freddy!
It's something so dumb and cartoonish that I can't help but roll my eyes, but also I can't help but laugh every single time too. Plus I love when Freddy actually really does kill Mark and we see him get turned into a two-dimensional cutout of himself and all the color ink slowly draining out of him before Freddy ultimately just shreds him to shit. Number 8.
Well, friends, you and I, remember? Let's get high.
Out of all the young Dream Warrior kids, Taryn is probably the most forgettable. But her kill at the hands of Freddy, in my opinion, is anything but that. The nightmare sequence itself isn't really drawn out or arduous. I mean, we get kind of a hobo fake out and a weak ass knife fight, if you can really call it that. And then Freddy turns his fingers into some hypodermic needles and injects Taryn with some blue Kool-Aid. But what makes this kill memorable to me is just the imagery of it all. The imagery of Freddy's fingers as those syringes and Taryn's track marks turning into tiny little suckling mouths.
What a rush.
Number 7.
Hey, Danny, better not dream and drive.
It's time to merge man and machine. After Dan falls asleep at the wheel, Freddy drops in to really frighten him with some awful jokes.
Back here, Dan. Better buckle up, dear.
And after a crash, Dan trades in his truck for a crotch rocket, and this is where things take a turn for the worst. Because what Dan doesn't realize is that this motorcycle is the FR89 model, and it starts fusing itself into Dan's body.
Becoming man and machine, power extreme.
It's a truly grisly sight watching Dan be transformed into a Mad Max looking nightmare. Just the thought of this kill alone makes me squirm, and it's definitely the standout kill from Dreamchild.
Hylas, wanna make babies?
Number 6.
You can check in, but you can't check out.
For my money, this might be the most disgusting kill of the entire franchise. I mean, it's bad enough that Freddy breaks Debbie's arms in half, but then she sprouts insect arms. And then to pile on even further, she falls down into some sticky shit, and when she tries to get out, she rips her face clean off, completing her transformation into a cockroach. But this ain't Joe's apartment, this is Freddy's Roach Motel, and Debbie is about to be permanently evicted.
You can check in, but you can't check out.
This kill is very disgusting, but a lot of fun, and I think the practical effects still hold up very well, even if her insect arms look a little rubbery when she's swinging them around.
No pain, no gain.
Number 5. I didn't think puppetry was a thing for teenagers in the 1980s. I just assumed their time was occupied by hair metal and cocaine. But this does lend itself to one pretty impressive nightmare sequence. This has got to be one of the most viscerally painful kills in the entire series. I can't imagine the level of torture of having your arms and legs sliced open, then being dragged around like a marionette by your own veins and muscle tendons.
Now let's all do it together.
Yeah! Raise your knee, raise your other knee, raise your foot, raise your other foot. Walk in a circle, do the puppet master.
A nice stroll, asshole.
Anyways, the whole sequence itself is great as the kids realize their friend is in trouble and they desperately try to get help and wake him up. But it's too little too late because Krueger is jerking the curtains on this puppet show. And I just love the shot of Freddy looming large in the night sky, pulling the strings and then cutting them, sending Philip to his death. Sorry, Metallica, but Freddy Krueger is the true master of puppets. Number 4. This isn't the flashiest kill of the entire franchise, but for me personally, it's arguably the most terrifying. This is a kill that is so simple, but perfect. It's like playing on that fear of somebody hiding under your bed and waiting to sneak out and kill you, except here the killer just pulls you through the bed and kills you. There is just something so primal about that fear that makes this just truly horrifying to me. Plus, I love the aftermath of the fountain of blood just shooting up through the bed and spraying across the room and ceiling. And the look of it all when the mom comes in and sees the blood just kind of spewing everywhere is just literally the stuff of nightmares. And a special shout out to my buddy Todd, who always said Johnny Depp's greatest performance was as a fountain of blood. Number 3. This takes the term going through the change to a whole new level. I'll admit that I'm bending the rules just a little bit here because it's not so much the killing of Grady as it is Jesse's metamorphosis into Freddy. Nightmare 2 is an often overlooked black sheep of the franchise, but this singular moment is arguably one of the coolest in the entire series. The sight of Freddy pushing and slicing his way out of Jesse's skin is truly painful and horrifying to watch. And imagine being in Grady's position, seeing your friend literally hatch a monster out of his body and being helpless to stop it. And oh yeah, that monster is now going to kill your ass. I I think it goes without saying that the practical effects here are just incredible, and they still hold up by today's standards. And this is arguably Freddy at his darkest. Number 2. Tina's death in the first Nightmare on Elm Street is still, without question, arguably one of the most iconic and greatest kills in all of horror today. But it's also the setup to the kill itself that I love. It's our introduction to Freddy Krueger himself, and that he's a killer who takes pleasure out of frightening and playing cat and mouse games with his victims before killing them. But it also shows that the rules of reality are being thrown right out the window, because Freddy is playing by his own rules, and when you fall asleep, you're fucked. Tina being killed and dragged up the wall and ceiling while her boyfriend Rob looks on in horror and is completely powerless to do anything to help her perfectly presents that feeling of helplessness, which makes Freddy Krueger truly terrifying in this first movie. But alas, I feel there is just one kill that separates Freddy from the rest of the pack and turned him into not only a horror icon, but a pop culture icon of the 1980s as well. And finally, number 1.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch.
I know for a lot of you this is probably the most predictable kill to put at number 1, but for me, I feel it is the perfect encapsulation of what we think of when we hear the name Freddy Krueger. There are probably more elaborate, gory, or creative kills and sequences in the series, but this one kill illustrates what makes Freddy scary and funny. You got the hilarious bit of him killing Zsa Zsa Gabor, the terrifying bit of the TV sprouting arms and grabbing Jennifer, and then the delivery of arguably the greatest one-liner in horror history.
Welcome to prime time, bitch.
In my opinion, this is peak Krueger, and for better or for worse, this kill was a tone setter for Freddy himself, as well as the franchise going forward. It's a kill that has the perfect marriage of horror and dark comedy, and that is why it's alone at number 1 on my list.
Can I ask you something?
Certainly.
Who gives a fuck what you think?
Well, boys and girls, that was my personal top 10 kills of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I am curious, what are your guys' top 10? Please post them in the comments below. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Adios.
And GTFO.
But what makes this kill memorable to me is really just the imagery of everything. But what makes this kill memorable, at least to me, is just the imagery surrounding it all. No f***ing sense. But what makes this kill memorable, god damn. This isn't the flashiest kill in the entire franchise, but for me, man, it's easily probably, start that over. And a special shout out to my buddy, Todd, who always said Johnny's dead.